Thank you for joining us today at Homestead for Life. My name's Laura, and today we are making turkey stock. So I have turkey carcass, cooked a turkey a couple days ago, and saved all the meat, not the meat, but the bones, the fat, all that fun stuff, so we can make turkey stock. And then in here, I've got celery, carrots, onions, and garlic, and then a couple seasonings. So turkey stock is a very flexible recipe. Use what you want. Throw what you want in there. So not all recipes that you find online are going to have garlic in them. Myself, I like garlic and onion cooked in just about every dinner type food. Obviously, it's not going in my chocolate, but garlic and onion cooked up, one of my favorites. So that is one of the key things in our recipe here. So we've got our carrots, celery, garlic and onions going in the stock pot. I just got this stock pot for Christmas and I love it. It is fantastic. It's actually big enough to do all the things so far that I've needed it to do. So that's been great. All right, so everything's in our pot except for our seasonings. We are going to use some parsley, rosemary, and thyme. Some people also use peppercorn and pepper. I am not a big pepper anything fan, so I don't. But you do whatever you... Ooh, this doesn't have a shaker on top. All right, that's all right. We can fix that. We are just going to scoop all that thyme back out. Wow, that was going to be really strong. Can you see how much is in there? Still plenty left, but then I scooped out some of my other stuff, so I'm going to put some rosemary and parsley back in there. All right. So what we're going to do here, or from here, we're going to throw this on the stove, and we're going to bring it to a boil, then reduce it down to a simmer, and let it simmer for about 3 hours. Then we're going to skim the fat off the top, strain the rest of it out, and we've got our turkey stock. After that, we're going to can it. So the water level, you're putting enough water in here to completely submerge everything. So I'm going to throw a little bit more water in here because there's a couple little pieces of turkey sticking out. Our stock is boiling, so we're going to turn this down so it'll just stay at a simmer for the next 3 hours. We're going to set our timer. And then we'll skim the fat off the top, strain out the rest, and then prep it for storing. We are going to can some of this, and we are going to freeze dry some of this into a powder. Our stock has been simmering and boiling for 3 hours, a little bit longer. So I've turned it off and let it cool down a little bit, and now we are going to skim the oil off the top and all the fat and grease from the turkey as best we can. A little tedious. It's just a thin layer of oil on the top. The next thing we're going to do is strain out all of our stuff. So I've got a flour sack towel over a strainer into a tub. So if you are more coordinated than me, you could just dump your bucket through this. We're going to use the tongs first and grab the big chunks of turkey, because they're going to be hard to pick up with a spoon anyway. I think we've got the biggest pieces of turkey bones out of here. Obviously, we still got some, but now we just strain it off into our tubs. And we are cheating this time because I want to go to bed. So I'm going to strain this all out And then I'm going to put the strained stock in the fridge overnight, and I'm going to can it tomorrow. So if you see me in different clothes for the second half of this video, that's why. So we did things a little bit differently. We put our stock in the fridge for a couple days, and now we're going to can it. So what that has allowed the stock to do is all of the grease, the oil, the fat has become a layer on the top, and since it's cold, we can pretty easily just kind of peel it right off the top. So if you were making this fresh and live to use right now, then maybe that fat would be fine. But when you're canning, anything you're storing for long term, if you're canning, you're freeze drying, anything like that, the higher the fat content, the faster it's going to go bad. So we want to get all the fat that we can off of our turkey stock. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put it back in the pot. We're going to heat it to boiling, and then we're going to can it. So I already have our jars in here with the water getting heated up for us. So as soon as our turkey stock is ready, our jars will be ready. I've got my lids in their little pan in the back, not quite simmering, just to get that glue or whatever it is on the lids nice and soft and ready to go. Told you don't have to do that anymore with new lids nowadays, but old habits die hard, I suppose, so won't hurt them. All right, so I'm gonna do this, looks like for a couple more minutes. The pieces are getting smaller and smaller, which is making them harder and harder to grab. And then we're gonna pour it into our pot. Our turkey stock is boiling, so we are going to get our jars out of our hot canner where they have been steaming away, well, slow cooking away. So we're going to carefully grab these out, dumping the water out. So I filled them with just a little bit of water before putting them in there so they didn't float. And now we are going to fill them over here on the stove. Okay, so we are going to fill up our jars up to 1 inch of headspace. Of course, the canner can only fit 5 pints at a time, and it gets a little close with the wide mouth jars. So the rest of this, stay tuned for another video. We are going to freeze dry it, so then we just have like powdered bouillon to use in recipes with that. Our jars are all filled with 1 inch headspace. So we're going to use our distilled white vinegar to clean the rims. And then we're going to grab our lids out of their little saucepan, finger tighten the rings, and load them up. All right. Oh my goodness, my fingers don't work. These are really hot. Anytime you're putting hot stuff in hot jars, right? Be prepared. Oh, and what I've been forgetting lately, so the rest of my distilled white vinegar, we're going to pour that in our canner. And the reason we're going to do that is because it'll help make sure the outside of the jars don't get all cloudy. So it's not required, of course, but hey, if it helps, right? Why not? I usually forget and I get the canner going and then I see the vinegar there and go, oh man, forgot again. If you've been following my channel, you know that I forget it probably about 75% of the time. All right. So the wide mouths are a little snug. And they don't really fit with the jar grabber. I guess I need to just kind of carefully drop that in place. All right. So these are going to cook, process for 20 minutes. So we're going to hit high. We're going to adjust our time to 20 minutes. And hit start. The timer is going to go off and give us about 10 minutes on a countdown to come over and change this from exhaust to airtight. So we will be back then. Our timer is down to E2. We're just going to turn this to airtight. And once it gets to the right pressure, now that it's at the right temperature, it's going to start our countdown timer. Okay. Our time is up, so we are going to unplug it and leave it for a minimum of 1 hour to cool off and depressurize before the lid will even let us open it up. So we don't need to change it to exhaust or anything like that. We're just going to leave it unplugged. We're actually going to leave it overnight and we will check them in the morning because I'm lazy and don't want to stay up anymore. Have a good night. We'll see them in the morning. So I didn't just wait overnight. I ended up also going to work, working super late, and here we are finally ready to check our broth, our turkey stock. So it's all cool enough that I can grab them out by hand. So that's great. Dump the water off the tops. So something to note, because I left it in here for so long, all of them should be sealed. We're going to pray they're sealed, hope they're sealed. But any of them that did not are garbage. So it's been over 24 hours, and while we might leave it overnight, leave them out overnight to finish processing, you wouldn't leave them for this long. These are all sealed, 100% success. Yay. Good thing, because I would have hated to waste all these. Had I caught them in the morning, I could have put it in the fridge and then just used it first. But a whole day, not sure where that magic line is. It's not 24 hours. So, but we lucked out, 100% success. Our turkey stock is ready for storage. We're just going to take the rims off. Sorry, not the rims. The rings off, wipe these down, label them, and put them in a cool, dark place. Thanks for joining us at Homestead for Life.